Come on with me. Okay. Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming. Welcome to our launch event. This is the launch event of our game, Overbeast, coming live in UK and Ireland today. I'm Keiichi. I'm the director of Liquid City. We're the studio who made the game. And today, in partnership with London Design Festival, we want to talk to you a little bit about how we came up with the concept of the game, how we developed it, and yeah, hopefully you're going to enjoy just being introduced to this game. And afterwards, we're going to have also a chance to be able to try it out. And yeah, so before we kick off, I just wanted to say thank you to Samsung KX for hosting us in this amazing space. And yeah, thank you also to Emily Dubois, our amazing superstar producer. Where is she? I don't know, she's hiding in the back. Who basically, she organized this whole thing. So yeah. Oh, there she is. Okay, so yeah, we have a small design studio in London. We're based in Viner Street. We're called Liquid City. We established just a couple of years ago, actually in connection around this Overbeast project. And the kind of focus of our studio is trying to think about how people are going to interact with technology in the future. So many big tech companies are developing technologies around AR, VR, AI, but no one really knows what it's going to look like when we're interacting with these technologies on a daily basis. So a lot of what our studio does is design and prototyping to try and speculate on what that interaction is going to look like and test out if that's something that we really want or not. And yeah, we also, since we kicked off on Overbeast a couple of years ago, we've also done many other little projects. This one was for Niantic, the makers of Pokemon Go, one of our other clients, and we work with them to fill this amazing conference venue full of virtual layers of content. So yeah, a lot of the work we're doing basically is around design, prototyping, and thinking about interaction with technology and people in the future. But for this project, it's slightly different. We were approached by Verizon, who are this enormous telecom company in the US, and they're also very interested in how people are going to use technology, in this case, their technology, and specifically around 5G. So they're trying to think about what kind of new experiences does 5G unlock, what does it enable, and they have a creators fund that we pitched to try and show what can be possible. So this project, Overbeast, is a collaboration between Verizon and then us, Liquid City, and then WoW, TerraHard, and Skillbard, three amazing studios that I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about, I guess, who we worked on with the game. So Overbeast is the game that we came up with, and I'm going to show you the game first, and then we'll talk about how we came to make it afterwards.
Tonight, interdimensional organisms colonizing our streets.
With footage coming in from every corner of the nation.
Revealed by the cell phone in your pocket.
Do not investigate. Do not plant the seeds. Do not encourage them to grow.
Creature keeps returning to the massive colony planted by one Brooklyn neighborhood.
It's a battle for beast supremacy.
We can actually win this. I want to see everybody. I want to see everyone in chat who's here right now.
Sure, you want to talk about defense? Then Frangatron. He's got it all.
Joe, you gotta see the whole picture here.
Excitement runs high across the nation as rumors circulate online of huge battles to come. Which of these creatures will channel the spirit of their city
to become the ultimate Overbeast?
Thank you very much. So we launched Overbeast in the US in April this year, and yeah, today is the launch for UK and Ireland. And in Overbeast, the central theme is these beasts that live in the world, and there's one of them in the UK in selected cities around the UK and Ireland. So there's an Overbeast for London, and everybody who's in London sees the same beast and feeds the same beast together. And to be able to play the game, you need to feed your beast with this pollen that you can collect from this overworld. And to be able to collect the pollen, you can plant trees, and the trees are on this map that's shared by everybody. So everybody who's playing the game in the same area will see the same trees together. And then once you've collected lots of pollen, you can feed that pollen to your beast, and then your beast competes against other overbeasts from different places. And then there's this big league here, you can see, showing the top beast, the strongest beast for the season, and there's a season every month. And this is what a battle looks like. Anyway, more on that in a bit. So the game is really this, it's like a loop between these three elements: collecting pollen in the overworld, nurturing your forest together with everybody else in your neighborhood, and then battling other rival states and cities to climb to the top of the league. But of course, like, we wanted to think about what makes this game like truly kind of next generation, because a lot of the reason, you know, that we were commissioned to make this in the first place is about trying to figure out what gaming looks like in the future, when all of these tech companies, they're putting all this money into developing VR, AR, 5G, AI, building like these possibilities for shared worlds. We want to see what that impact is actually going to have on gaming. So Overbeast is kind of like a prototype to think about what kind of games are going to be possible in the future. So I want to go back and talk really about the very beginning, the genesis of the game. And I think, you know, the first idea really just came from the beasts themselves, just having these amazing kind of majestic creatures that could live in particular places and could be seen by everybody. That's from Mononoke Hime, the Ghibli film. And I just put it on there just to talk about it. Don't worry, we're going to get to the Overbeast stuff in a minute. So we found that with Niantic's new technology, we're able to also see which bits of the camera feed are sky and which bits are not. So this kind of idea pairs very well with this technology and allows us to create this effect. So our amazing art director, Anna Mill, who sadly is not here today, she's in Scotland, but a lot of the work that you're going to see here is her amazing paintings and drawings, which really set out the vibe of the world. We started off with just what kind of moments do we want to see in this game. And I think, you know, citing one of those kind of majestic beasts around your everyday surroundings was one of those kind of core moments we really wanted to have in the game. And then we kind of thought it would be so incredible for those beasts to be able to challenge and battle beasts from other places. And instead of having the kind of Godzilla kaiju theme where the beast is coming to destroy the city, we kind of wanted to invert that and think about how people in the city could actually work together to collaborate and nurture a beast in their territory. But we still have that kind of competitive element. And then we imagined also it's not just the beast, but the habitat as well. So, you know, working together to kind of make the very sort of verdant habitat for your Overbeast is the sort of central gameplay mechanic. So this is even, you know, these paintings were done before we even got the money to make the game. This is like part of our pitch. And I think just together, it's really amazing to see how a lot of those ideas that were there at the beginning were able to be, you know, carried throughout the project. I think partly because of like the power of those images individually. And yeah, the process after that was we had to think about how do we tie those moments together to make something that feels like a game. So a lot of the prototyping that we did was based on these kind of storyboards, again by Anna, and she kind of, you know, envisioned all of the different parts of the gameplay. So again, I think this was before we'd done any, like a single line of code in the projects, all of this stuff. And this was the first prototype. This actually is using cloud rendering, so there's a computer off somewhere that's doing all of the heavy lifting on rendering this image and then sending it to the phone via 5G. So it's kind of a technical prototype to show what could be possible, but also obviously started to, you know, make us think about how we're going to build the game. So then when we started actually working on the game for real, we started off with just, you know, making these very simple prototypes that prove out the basic concepts. Creating a grid that goes over the entire Earth with all these different nodes on that are at, I think, like 5-meter intervals, and that can be accessed by anybody at any time. And if someone plants a tree, it appears on everyone else's devices. This is kind of a big, scary engineering challenge that we didn't really know how to approach it. So we worked with Terahard, who are our engineering partner on this, to be able to build out that whole system. So this is a very simplified version, but this is basically what you see on the game today. And then this is the kind of evolution of that prototype. We start to put that together with a bit of UI, and then you can also see the AR out in the world and some pollen starting to appear. So like, before the game looked like anything, kind of, this is the kind of foundation of it. And also in the game, there's a whole economy around the pollen. You collect it, you use it to plant seeds, you use it to charge your beast, you can win upgrades and do different things as you would do in a game. And so there's a kind of complex system of like the pollen economy working in the background as well. The battles, of course, were like one of the sort of tentpole experiences of the game, so we wanted to make sure that that was kind of like a kind of wow moment for people. And we based it on like looking at a lot of these old kaiju movies. There's kind of a format to how monsters battle in these films, where they kind of appear, they do the roar, do like a nice pose, and then go through a series of different attacks before the victor's announced. And you can see here one of the early battles. I also want to call out here the music and the sound design. We started working with our sound and music partners, Skillbard, from these very, very early stages when the visuals were not really in place, but it was really important to be able to kind of build the feeling of the world and what we wanted the experience to be like, to have sound in at that point. So you can hear as well like an early version of the music here as well. Even with very rudimentary visuals, you get a lot of the atmosphere through that. And then when we start to think about the visual design of the game, what we wanted the interface to look like, again, it all starts off with these very simple wireframes that just show the layout and logic of how all those different pieces connect. And then Anna, our art director, worked very closely with Jackson, who's our superstar visual designer. Don't know where he is. He's around. He's over there. And taking a lot of these influences from, I think, we took a lot of influence from like the kind of techno-mystical area. So tarot cards, a lot of these sound patterns that you find, kind of technical documentation, cameras, lenses, like maps. Tried to bring a lot of different things together in the design. And then here's like an early version of that. You can see some of the pieces start to take shape. And this is the final identity with what we got to with Overbeast. And you can see some of the key screens here. So the map, that we try to give it this kind of sense that your phone is like some kind of device that's able, a scanner that's able to see into this other dimension. And we kind of try to think of it like a technical instrument rather than a game. I think this is one of the great luxuries of the project, that Verizon didn't really, they didn't require us to make something that was very kind of commercially facing. We were able to be quite experimental, both with the game design and also the visual direction, to try and make something that hopefully feels very unique and suited around, what these future possibilities of gaming are. With the forest design as well, we can show, starting with these initial sketches, trying to think about mixing the worlds of like biology and thinking about plant forms, but also thinking about how these are somewhat otherworldly and like based around electricity and connection. I don't know if these are supposed to look like 5G towers, but they're something like that. And they go into modeling, animation. And here's, I think, the final product of the models. And you can see these are our first tests of what that looked like in AR. And then the design of the beasts themselves, these needed to be things that felt really giant and really substantial and very majestic, but we didn't want them to be too scary because they have to be ones that you also support and you also kind of get behind. So a lot of the design came from looking at existing kind of creatures and trying to make these kind of chimera type forms that kind of fuse different parts from different animals. And we worked with an art direction studio in Japan called WoW, who I've been a big fan of for a very long time. So I was really happy to be able to ask them to help us to work on this. And they took Anna's designs and then they kind of basically made them something that they could model and animate. And with each of them, we were also thinking about trying to make them as kind of visually spectacular as possible and try and show things that wouldn't, we wouldn't be able to render if we weren't using the 5G technology. Yeah. This is a good example, I guess, of like how we're trying to refine the face to make them kind of feel alien and majestic, but also kind of cute as well. Yeah, so this is the young anemone king before it has the tentacle textures on them. Maybe this is a bit on the cute side, but yeah, I like this one. Here's the final adult version here. And again, just on the sound design, on this clip, you can't even see the Overbeast, but I think you get a really good sense of the overworld just through listening to the sound and the music. And then it all culminated the first season when we launched in the US in this final battle, Minnesota versus Ohio, that happened in May. But this was recorded in the Olympic Park, not too far from here. So you can see all those players who joined the first season contributing to this battle. And you can see the people who contributed the most pollen as heroes of the battle at the bottom. Yeah, that was season 1. So when we released the game in the US, we had a little bit of support from Verizon in terms of putting the word out there, doing some marketing for it. So we came up with some ideas around how we wanted to show off the game and talk about it in public. And we started off before the release doing some very early generative AI experiments. This was before we had Midjourney or DALL-E or anything like that. And Jasper over there made these lovely images that were kind of from this kind of fictional character called Cleo, who was developing this imaging software that was able to look into this other dimension. And through that, we told the story of her discovering this parallel world and starting to document it and gain support from other fictional characters as well. This was very interesting and fun for us to do, but it wasn't very effective because we couldn't really talk about it as we're making a game. It was this whole like mysterious thing, so it was quite difficult to get people to understand that we weren't just some random account. But we also did like a lot of nice little mock-ups of things that we put out on social media. We do like Beast of the Week every week to show which beasts are climbing the league the fastest. And this is when we had our Verizon marketing stint. They worked with some influencers to basically like play the game and report on it as if they were actually in the world. So this is a couple of, I don't actually know who they are, but there's a couple of, I mean, I think they're big. They're twins.
These Overbeasts have a history of close fights.
I just thought it's the same guy in a different suit, but I think they are.
4 wins and 3 losses. That's impressive.
They did a really, really good job.
Let's not underestimate the underdog, Anemone King. Despite the lower power score of 133, it has shown grit and resilience with a record of 3 wins and 4 losses.
And we ran photo competitions as well to be able to see, let people show off their forests and any amazing view of the Overbeast they get. And it's quite nice because even though we're just using the same game assets in different places, because they're in these different locations, you get like a real variety of different types of like view and atmosphere within the screenshots. These are some other really big and mature forests people have planted in the US. We also got a Discord where people are sort of joining and swapping tips on how to play, showing off their forests. This beautiful one here. And we've got some really good reviews around the gameplay, concept, and design. People are enjoying playing it. But I wanted to, I guess, close out by talking about also that this is a next generation game which is meant to show off the the latest in technology, and not everybody's phone is up to it. So we do also have a lot of requests that originally thought, well, we wanted to make something which is very natively in AR and something that doesn't rely on we don't think of AR as just being a kind of strap-on thing, but it's like something which is really inherent to the game. But we're now looking at like trying to think of other modes because, of course, we want as many people to be able to play it as possible. So yeah, today we just launched the game. I think it's actually open and live on the App Store right now. So you should be able to download it on Apple App Store or Google Play. We've got 10 new territories for the UK and Ireland. And I guess you can just pick the one that you feel the most allegiance to when you sign up. Yeah, and you can download and play the game. You can check overbeast.world for more information, like our Discord server that you can join. But yeah, just wanted to thank again, like all of the team for working on this project, and thank you for Samsung again for hosting us, and thank you very much for coming. Yeah, cheers.